My name is Glenda. I've been here over 30 years, so a long time. I am the lead of the Canadian Wilds, so I help the keepers in the Canadian Wild Zone take care of the animals day to day. So the crane we have here in our exhibit right now, his name is Cyclops. He was hatched in captivity about 23 and a half years ago. He was released in the year 2000, and unfortunately he suffered a wing injury, so was recaptured and entered into the whooping crane breeding program, and he has been the father of many eggs since then. He is here now at the zoo because he is being repaired with another female at another zoo, so he will be moving on in the next little while to start the next chapter of his breeding life. So I just fed him some mealworms, and so you can see him doing what a whooping crane would be doing in their natural habitat, and that's foraging in the pond. And you can see how he uses his long beak to poke and prod into the water and the mud to look for any small little tidbits to eat. So the Calgary Zoo is part of the larger whooping crane breeding program. There's a number of institutions that have captive birds that are bred specifically for egg laying and chick rearing, and we've been part of that program for many, many years, and Cyclops has been part of that program too. So whooping cranes have mostly disappeared from their natural habitats due to hunting by humans and also by predators. So the Calgary Zoo has had the honor of having some of the birds that we have had hatched and reared here and in other institutions actually released into the wild and to go on and reproduce as well. I think that's a highlight for most of us keepers, is to know that we're working with an endangered species and actually doing some good, and that we are seeing recovery of these birds in the wild. The most challenging part of my job can sometimes be the weather. Being out in the Canadian wilds, we are exposed to the elements, and just some days when you get the snow and the wind and the cold, it can make our job a little more challenging. The thing I love the most about my job in the Canadian wilds is the seasonality of the work out here. I think because we have animals that are native to this area, we get the breeding season, so our hoof stock goes through breeding seasons, and our bears hibernate in the winter and then they get up in the spring. And so we have a constant change, which on the flip side can bring us many challenges, because we're constantly having to shift and adjust how we feed, how we manage. And then when the babies come along, that's exciting, but then it means more managing of the animals and, sometimes more cleaning, which is, a lot of hard labor. But so I guess the best part and the most challenging parts are one and the same, and that's just how the Canadian wilds rolls between the seasons. But the Canadian wilds is the best zone to work in. How about that?